In the name of the one holy and undivided Trinity. Amen. We love this sanctuary. If there's anything true about Christ Church, it is that we love this space, and that is legitimate. We live in an intense neighborhood with lots of needs and rapid change, high population turnover in students, and in the middle of it, we have this glorious space. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's traditional but not stuffy, it's beautiful, it's restful. And many of us have spent years making pilgrimage here from our homes every Sunday morning. Whatever was happening in our own life, whether it was getting fired or getting pregnant or finding out we weren't pregnant or having our dad die or meeting our spouse or facing a stack of bills we didn't know how to pay or getting a promotion or a degree, we brought it here and prayed to God to be with us through it. And all of that history and love and prayer is contained in this dark wood and fresh paint and brick. There's a lot of stones in today's readings. There's a lot of rocks. We hear about dangerous stones, stones that are used to kill Stephen. We hear about God being our strong rock, our crag, and our stronghold. And we hear Peter, who is literally the rock. Though, do you ever wonder about that as a nickname, whether it was affectionate or not, or a mix? Because, it really did take a long time to get things through Peter's solid head. Might be a mix. Anyway, the rock today says in this letter, "Come to him, a living stone, though rejected by mortals, yet chosen and precious in God's sight. And like living stones, let yourselves be built into a spiritual house, to be a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ." Living stones. What does it mean to be a living stone? Do you remember a children's game called Cat's Cradle? You'd wrap pieces of elastic or string around your fingers, right? And you'd move your fingers in particular configurations to make different shapes among your fingers and make all these different patterns. I think of living stones and the spiritual house a little bit like that. While we love our building, the building is not the church. We're the church, the living stones. And every week we travel here and every week we leave here, making equally important pilgrimage to our own lives, to libraries and cubicles, volunteer committees, to ailing relatives and friends. We are joined together, however, by invisible strings, like in that cat's cradle. These invisible strings are our Eucharist, our common table, the peace we share every Sunday, the commitments we make to one another to see each other through trouble and hardship. And every week, this spiritual home contracts as we come together and gather under this one roof. And then we all go out all over this big city and county, joined by those invisible bonds of affection and faith and commitment. And within that expanded container, those bonds, we continue to make holy and safe space. What we practice here, patience, justice, goodwill, forgiveness, generosity, we take out there, and the whole house expands in a huge way. And within it, we are still making the space that we practice and make here. Sometimes we are the only person in our workplace that is safe for a fellow coworker to come out as trans to. Sometimes we are a teacher who cares about our students with love and loyalty and attention, and the goodness of this space and our way of praying and loving together extends and blossoms into that classroom. Is this making sense as a metaphor? Yes. Okay. Every week we do this contraction and expansion as this spiritual house, this home of God that we make, this beautiful space that we create in our love, prayer, and intention expands and contracts with us. There's this building, and then there's this spiritual home that is mobile and flexible and big. And each one of us is one of the living stones that makes up the spiritual house of Christ Church. And I picture each of you, don't laugh at this, sort of glowing like a lit up stone sprinkled all over this city. And I like to think of all those little pinpricks of light as they exist once we leave here on a Sunday evening, and the intricate web of care and relationship between them. The architecture of our faith is holy, and within it, there is the same care and hope we express here, and enough beauty to hold all things. It is big enough to contain both the joy and celebration of good mothering in Mother's Day and the grief and sorrow that accompanies Mother's Day for many. It is a living sanctuary, and just like the vestry is taking under consideration how we as a parish might exist as a sanctuary space in this time that is so hostile to refugees and immigrants, we too make that space in our own lives, thinking about how to be sanctuary, how to be safe and good space for people who are experiencing hardship. I think, too, this expansion and contraction is related to what we say is happening in Easter. Because every week, when new people come, other people are going through something new, the quality of our attention, the quality of our experience changes a little bit. So that space is also constantly being reborn. It's not the same every week. So we contract, we come here, we get fed, we reshape, we go back out, reborn, reshaped anew, as we each make holy space in our own homes, our own workplaces, our own lives, resurrected again and again and again.